Welcome back. My name is Kyla P. Barnes. I am your financial chef and coach with Jean Glaze Art and Finance. Thank you so much for taking time to tune in to my podcast, our podcast, Conversations About the C Word. Hopefully you have had the opportunity to go through and check out some of the other podcasts that have come before this particular one. But the conversations about the C word is covering everything relevant from cash to culture to Christ to community, as well as why things matter, when they matter, and how to make things count for you. So that's why this is being recorded. This podcast is recorded in one take, one message. I do apologize in advance if an apology is needed for being human. If I happen to mispronounce something or say something incorrect, or maybe even cut off the last consonant in a word, I somewhat apologize in advance. But with that, let's go ahead and get into the topic for this week. The topic for this week is community. By definition, community is a group of people that are either living in the same place or having a particular set of characteristics. Another definition of community is a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Why do I want to cover community? Because community drives culture. And in the event that you're lacking culture, you're also lacking community. In the event any of us, irregardless of our skin color and how we think, if we are lacking motivation to get to the next level, it is because we're lacking culture and we're lacking community. I heard a message from a speaker out of Victory Cathedral, and I really like it. So I'm going to give you this quote that he gave when he was speaking about a month ago. And he said that some of us stay in a prolonged season of isolation, but others are placed in a season of isolation for separation, which gives us preparation for our elevation. That was nice, wasn't it? And I wrote that down because I feel as though sometimes we can be isolated in a place without community and get to where we're going because the noise comes down. Other times, I feel like we force ourselves into isolation. We cut off community and we cut off culture. And culture and community cutoff, to me, prolongs the period of you getting through that with progress, getting through that thing that is holding you back, getting you through that thing in which you can't seem to unwrap your mind around it. I like the definition of culture as well, which is the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively, or culture could be the customs, arts, social institution, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. I asked myself a little bit ago would probably be when I was contemplating this podcast. I was trying to write down why community is important. And this is what I came up with. So, irregardless of where you grew up in a culture and a community. You may not have been able to see it, but it was there. From a small rural area to a bustling metropolis, or maybe even to the suburbs, the need for community drives the human spirit. If you were ever looking at someone and you wanted to be them and you drew near to what they do and how they do it, you became a part of what they consider to be culture, because you're holding some of the same ideas, you're holding some of the same customs, and you're also holding some of maybe even the fraternizations of that particular social group. I have found that community allows us to psychologically, socially, and on a practical level move forward. COVID showed us that in isolation, we absolutely cannot thrive. I like the quote that's given by, I want to say the quote that I wrote down was by Helen Keller. I'm trying to think on what it was, but it was saying that together we can accomplish so much, but alone we can only go so far. If I find the quote, I'm going to make sure that I share that with you. But it's something to that extent. I also like the quote I remember hearing by Coretta Scott King: the greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. One more other quote here would probably be by Martin Luther King: life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And that makes sense when you're thinking about growing your business, when you're thinking about growing your career, when you're thinking about growing your family, when you're thinking about having more community. It's not necessarily the first question, what can I get from the group? What can I get from community? But what can you do for others and what others can do for you in an exchange? So it will be reciprocal. One of the things that I've noticed over my life is that it is important that if you want to have a social community structure, which is going to be meaningful relationships and a network of friends and creating a support system, that you have to cultivate that. And the way to cultivate that is to share or broadcast where you are when you're going through what you're going through. So it's going to be an intimate reveal to show your life challenges, to show the things where you did not succeed very successfully, to show some of the pitfalls and vulnerabilities that you have. It may also be to talk about interactions that didn't go well, or to talk about items that are really built up inside of you. That socially, to me, is how you build community. That also is how you build long-standing friendships and relationships. On a practical level, in times of need or in times of where you just really want to have camaraderie, a supportive community can provide a huge assistance to you. It can be, a companion like a pet. It can be your neighbor offering a helping hand. It could be your friend or your network of friends or community supporting you during a time in which you're not as strong. It can even be co-sharing of ideas. It's my belief that all of us here on this earth have gifts that God gave us, but some of us need to have the gifts that are within us to be reminded that they are inside of us. And sometimes, and you may be able to echo this as well, you'll talk to a person and they'll say one thing or one sentence and it'll stick with you. It'll also unlock something in you that you knew that maybe you suppressed, maybe you moved to the back of your mind, but it brings it back to the forefront. So then psychologically, you're able to bring yourself out of the place in which you may or may not have mentioned to other people. And that place may be a environment in which you're proud of, or it may not be an environment that you're proud of. It also will lead to you having a higher connection with yourself, what you're thinking and what you're feeling, and it could change your positive outlook on life. All of this is community. All of this is sharing. All of us learn from other people by listening to other people's stories. And when you think about community, if you have it, you know you have it. Community is so strong. It is so tangible. You can cut it with a knife. There are times in which you're like, I just wish I could talk to somebody. When you have community, reach out and talk to somebody. You don't have to hold that in. You can share it. This podcast is driven as well as it has contributions from people in all walks of life. No one is doing the same thing. No one has made their money doing the same thing. We're all at different ages. You listening are at a different age, and specifically maybe at a different time. But it's important that if you have something to broadcast that is within you, if you are lacking community, that you go out there and you get the community and you broadcast that thing within you. You never know where it's going to go. I am often reminded of so many amazing quotes out there because I feel like everybody has reached a level of savantness at different times of their truth. And when they give it to the world, it becomes a breakthrough for the next person listening. So if I share my story with you, you may resonate with some parts of it that will be beneficial for your life story. And that to me is what living is about. At this current time, I'm reminded of the quote by Booker T. Washington. I frequently hold him in my mind as one of the older African American pioneers because he did believe that if we're able to use our own hands, if we're able to use our own strengths, our own values of working with what's needed as a solution in our community, that will lead to progress and uplift the African American community. Now, the time is different from the days of Booker T. Washington, but ultimately he believed that developing practical skills, vocational training, having a trade that people needed alongside with education or intellectual development was crucial for his people, our people, African Americans, to reach an economic independence and social advancement. And I believe that too. When you look at all of the companies and these CEOs and CIOs and CFOs on the top, they're not more intelligent than you. They had community, they had network, they bought into a culture, or they presented a solution to people that paid them for that solution thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of times over. It's the same primer, and you can do that too. You don't have to wait in behind someone else to help you be great. You don't need to wait for somebody else to join you on your idea. It was your idea. You run with it. If you have something that will bless another person, if you have a solution in mind, absolutely deploy that. Do not wait. Booker T. Washington is quoted with saying, success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life, but by the obstacles which he or she has overcome. So if you are listening to this podcast and you're lacking community, go get it. If you are listening to this podcast and you are on the brink of should you or shouldn't you, go do it. If you're listening to this podcast and you are defeated, lend your ear to someone else who is positive, who is optimistic. Borrow some of that for yourself to brighten your life. My name is Kyla P. Barnes. I am your financial chef and coach with Jean Glaze Art and Finance. Check me out online at www.onegingles.com. Please like and subscribe to this podcast, and I will see you on the trading floor.